from a team of teenagers with attitudes.
It's interview time. I am your host, TFG and Mike from the Geekcast Radio Network, and joining me is my co-host, Scotty Cash from the Pop Culture Network. Hello, sir.
How are you?
Pretty good, pretty good.
Good.
And from the Command Center, would like to welcome Lisa J. from No Pink Spandex. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Pretty good, pretty good. Basically what this little quote-unquote interview / discussion will be is just, talking to Lisa because she's gotten to interview a lot of the Power Rangers actors and people, so it'd basically just be, getting her experience along with, finding out some juicy tidbits and stuff like that. So we've got several questions for you.
Juicy tidbits.
She's our mentor.
I don't know. She always gets, it's something that'll come up later, but, ever since Power Rangers, no one ever saw Billy again after Zeo, and then all of a sudden last year he showed up in a special interview that you did, so it's like David Yost dropped off the face of the earth and then he shows up again.
That is true, and it was awesome.
Yes, we'll get to that. What'd you say, Scotty?
She's got some splaining to do.
Yeah, exactly. So... All right, first question. Why no pink spandex? Why not no yellow spandex or whatever, and how did NPS come to be?
Well, yeah, no pink spandex. Well, I always grew up, I'm, black girl from the Bronx, right? Mm. So, black girl from the Bronx doesn't really mesh with Valley girl from California. So really, when I started watching the show, I was not into pink. I didn't like Pink Rangers. I was not a fan. And I forgot, it was something on Ranger Board, either some kind of competition. I don't remember. But for some reason, I was picked as the leader. And then they were like, okay, come up with a name. And I'm like, no pink spandex. It was like easy. I'm like, well, I don't like pink spandex, so whatever. I don't like Pink Rangers. Fine. And so it just started with some Ranger Board game. And then I was around that same time, I was on a podcast called RangerCast, and it was myself and 4 others, and I was just like one of the panelists and what have you. And while it was a great time, I just felt like I wanted to do something of my own. And so my friend Katie and I, we were like, let's just do a podcast. I'm like, come on, Katie, we can do it. Just us girls, we can do this and blah, blah, blah. And so we just started to, do our own thing, and talking about, Power Rangers, basically the same thing that we did on RangerCast. And that started in September of 2005. And again, around that same time too, was the first time I went to my first convention ever, UmaCon 2005. And that was when the, SBD cast was there. And I had my little shaky camera, little bitty camera, and I taped some of the panels and whatever and edited together. And then that was, really, it was really early on where that was when Ranger guests were, appearing at conventions. And so I'm like, well, I gotta get this on camera. Gotta, whatever, I gotta do this. And so I just edited something quickly together. So coupled with, us talking about the show and that's where it kind of began. And, I was going to school for media as well. So I wanted to do video production. And eventually I just saw myself doing that. And now, 5 years later, I'm like,
exactly.
Making millions of dollars off of it.
Millions of dollars, yeah, I wish.
Right.
I wish. But it's been really odd in a sense because, you never think that something that you like to do, talk about a nostalgic show would actually, come into, I guess, quote unquote, real life, because, you think, all right, a hobby, but this is actually, video production is actually what I want to do. And it was an inspiration for me to get better. So.
Exactly. Yeah. That's the same thing with, I'm sure with Scotty as well over at Pop Culture Network, and the same thing with me. Like, my very first interview I ever did, of course, majority of our podcasts over at GCRN Network center around Transformers. That's our big fandom over there. But, when I did my first Transformers podcast, if someone had told me that I was going to be able to interview Stan Bush, 5 years ago, I would have laughed them just out of the room. It's one of those things where, holy crap, I can't believe I'm talking to all these people.
Right.
Do you have a favorite Zord from any series of Power Rangers, or do you have one specific to Mighty Morphin?
It's clearly the pterodactyl, right? The pink pterodactyl.
I was thinking the bear.
Okay. When I was growing up watching the show, and you tape it on your VCR. I know how old those are. Taping on your VCR, I would fast forward through the Zords. I really,
What?
I mean, because look, for me, Power Rangers was Saved by the Bell with martial arts. That was the perfect show because I love Saved by the Bell and I love martial arts. You put those two together, awesomeness. I mean, so the Zord, I was like, when they were in the Spandex, I'm like, just give me some on-morph action and some high school drama and I'm good to go. So, I mean, I guess the easy one, the one that was the coolest at the time, I mean, Dragon Zord,
Yeah, everybody loves Dragon Zord.
So, I'll pick the easy one, Dragon Zord.
It's funny you combine Power Rangers and Saved by the Bell, because I just counted off on my hand. You got Zack, Slater, Screech, Jesse, and Kelly. And I'm assuming that Mr. Belding would be the Zordon of Saved by the Bell.
Sure. For sure.
Well, technically, he's the Mr. Kaplan, because, the kids didn't want to see Balding. I mean, really, they didn't want to see him. He was just, yeah. So, but yeah, come on, like, we joke about it all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Power Rangers, Mighty Morphin was Saved by the Bell, martial arts. And, and then throwing some Japanese stuff in there. I mean, it was like a great show.
Yeah,
I agree.
Why I watched.
That's why we're talking right now.
Yes. You want to take that next one there, Scotty?
All right. What's your favorite Ranger from the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers?
Wow. Okay.
And we're not. It doesn't have to be like who you've interviewed. Like, growing up, who is your favorite? It clearly wasn't Kimberly.
No, it really wasn't. Let me see. For Mighty Morphin, the one I related to the most, even though she was technically the Black Kimberly, was Aisha.
Okay.
But because she was short and she was black and she had braids, and so did I. So I was like, that's cool. That's me. But my favorite, I guess my favorite would have been, I did like Zack. Cause he was the only black guy, so I guess I looked for people who I relate to more.
Yeah.
And
at least you're honest about it.
Yeah, and Zack, he looked like me, and he liked to dance, and he wore purple, my favorite color. It was great. So I did like Zack, right? And then when I was, of course, amongst the girls, you had the crushes, so people had crush on Jason. Tommy and all that stuff. So,
what about poor Billy?
Look, I don't know who anybody like Billy. Granted, I went to school in Spanish Harlem, so not many of the. No, that's not true. That's not true. One of my friends, she did like Billy. Yes,
on purpose.
I do remember. On purpose.
Okay.
She was always the variant of the. Like everybody, she was. She always, like, when we're watching, let's see, like Martin and Family Matters and whatever. She's like watching X-Files, like she was, and at the time, like now X-Files, cult classic, but at the time it was like really Sliders, really. So yeah, So yeah, she did like Billy. I remember. I do. So yeah, then that's the beat of the show. It's like everybody had their favorite, and not everybody's the same. So, it's a good time.
I have a confession while we're talking about it.
Yes.
I've never liked any Girl Ranger more than I liked Aisha.
Oh really?
Yep. I had a childhood crush on her.
Oh really?
Yeah. So when I meet her, we're just running away and getting married. Same.
Right.
You should tell her on Facebook. You should.
Is she on there?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
She has a fan page. Yes.
Does she?
Yes, she does.
Let's look that up. Are you on there too, I assume?
Yeah, I am.
All right.
So yeah, look her up. Tell her I loved you when I was years
13.
old.
Yeah. 25.
If you had to choose any Power Rangers series besides Mighty Morphin as your favorite, what would it be and why?
Zeo, hands down.
Okay, well, that's within the Mighty Morphin era.
No. Okay, look. Let me tell you. Let me break this down to you. Okay? Yes, you had your Mighty Morphin. You had the season 1, season 2, season 3. Okay, fine. It was great. That was an era. Okay? Then you had the season finale of season 3, where, things are blowing up. You don't know what's going on. Oh my! And then for like the longest time, it seemed like the longest time, you had these promos of "you gotta see it, it's coming," all that stuff, right? And I'm like, what's coming? I don't understand. What's going on? Power Ranger Zeo. Power Ranger Zeo was born. I'm telling you. Look, let me tell you something. Power Ranger Zeo is the best season of all time. All time. Okay, like
you are tired.
Of all time. I'm going to tell you why.
All right, I'm
clearly
listening.
The best cast. Clearly. I mean, yes, later on, SPD is a close second, but clearly, look, you have Tommy, you have Jason coming back. What? Tommy, Jason, Adam, and Rocky not being annoying, all on one team, okay? And then Catherine, she got some cojones, learned a little bit from Kimberly, all right, because the first couple of seasons, I'm like, she's a little too meek, but she got some cojones. And then you got Nakia, who's like the better version of Aisha. See, there's too many A names.
No, that's crazy.
Yes, what?
She's like fake Aisha.
Don't even try to fake Aisha nothing. She is from Africa. She is from the true Africa. No, fuck it. But, yeah, I love that. For me, the favorite season starts with the cast, right? And how well they portray the story to me. And so I can completely believe that, like, hey, look, we've gotten a little older, we got a little humor, we got a little drama, we got a little everything, martial art. It was just great. And I can watch that season over and over and over again without being bored. So that is my favorite season of all time.
It's a reasonable answer. We just,
Yeah.
Reasonable answer.
I guess everybody has their own opinion.
Scotty's trying to be objectionable here.
What's your favorite season? What is your favorite season?
Season 1, just because it's season 1.
Okay, besides season 1,
Season 2.
Oh Lord.
Just because I love the Thunder Zords.
Okay, all right.
I do love Zeo though. I do like Zeo a ton.
The whole point of the question was setting aside the MMPR eras as far as the original cast.